Hi everyone, markets went straight up, so let's get straight into the data. Then we'll look at my results for the day and my thoughts going into the Monday session. If you like trading stocks and options and making money, definitely like and subscribe. I make videos like this every single day that the markets are open as well as Sundays, so make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Welcome to the Portfolio Bulletin. Let's get started. So looking at fear and greed, you can see we're almost up to those 80 levels. We stepped up again another 2 points here today. 81, 82 is kind of that turning point. We've talked about it a few times. We're not quite there yet. We are headed in that direction. You can see markets just going straight up once again, back into greed. Still in greed here on strength, but we are still seeing breadth continue to taper off here. And then moving over to put call ratio, continuing to trend down, volatility still neutral, and then back into extreme greed on both safe haven demand as well as junk bond demand. So no fear in markets pretty much across the board, but we are still seeing weakness in breadth, which is interesting. Moving over to seasonality, we are supposed to see a pop into the Monday session, pretty big jump there from about 1.25% up to almost 2%. So we're supposed to see that jump. It seems like it came early, so maybe a little bit predictive there. Got that rally early, and then we're going sideways for the rest of the week into the options expiration. Just keep that in mind as we go into the end of next week. Moving over to earnings, we did get Pepsi earnings. They did beat on the bottom line, but missed on the top line, and they were down a little bit. We looked at them yesterday. We'll go ahead and take a look at them again today, but they were the only company that was really interesting for today. Moving over to Max Payne, we finished up above 500, absolutely colossal on the run, well above all these call walls. The first call wall was 439, rallied well through that, finished just above the 500 call wall, well below 515, but we are at the top of the puts once again, continuing to get very, very strong finishes. Total options ended up around 1.5 million. Put call ratio trended down throughout the week, which is interesting, but you can see there's still quite a bit of puts here at the money, so definitely a little bit of a bullish indicator. This is going to change a lot as we go into the third week options expiration, so definitely check out the Sunday video for that analysis. Moving over to the charts, they did exactly what we thought they were going to. Rallied right up, hit that trend line at 501. Pulled back from it a little bit. You can see we wicked it just to the penny here on the hourly chart. So hit the trend line to the penny. Momentum faded a little bit at that point, but obviously the structure is still very bullish. And we've been going straight up basically here since the beginning of the year to current day. So everything's still very bullish. We're at trend resistance. We'll see if we break through here. If we do, there's obviously a lot of upside potential to that next resistance. Momentum bullish, RSI still super overbought, but still bullish. Moving over to the NASDAQ, similar thesis, straight up all day, got all the way up to 437.81 and then pulled back a little bit. I don't have a trend line there. You can see my trend is sitting all the way up at 439.87 or 440, right in that same area. Momentum bullish, RSI bullish. Everything still says we're going straight up. And with days like today, you have to expect some follow through to the trend at this point. It just looks super bullish across the board. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow, both of these rallied super aggressively. You can see the Russell stopped at that 144 EMA. I was watching it closely. Rallied up early and then I hesitated and then I ended up rolling up later, but broke through that level here, finished at 199.30. It's above that level. Next level up around 102. Everything looks super bullish. Probably going to extend some trend lines out here and take a look at this for the Sunday video, but clearly a bullish momentum, bullish structure. Looking to see if we can break above this previous high and get to those next levels. Above that, I have 204.63. And then looking at the Dow here on the daily chart, it was actually down on the day, 0.16. We're still hovering below that level as resistance, stuck between that level and the 9 EMA at 385.20. Momentum basically zero, RSI breaking down. A little bit different structure there on the Dow. It's been one of the strongest and now it's starting to taper off. We'll see if we get another break here on the Dow, but it does look a little bit weaker than the others. Moving over to Apple and Tesla. Apple rallied up a little bit, hit that resistance once again in that 190 area and then broke back down from that level. So continues to be an area of resistance. We're right at the 21 EMA. Momentum slightly bearish here on the hourly chart. Let's look at it on the daily, see if we can get a different perspective. You can see this looks a little bit more like a consolidation. We had a high, we had a low right in the same area. Looks like consolidation between 196.79 and that 182.37 area. Maybe a little lower, 180.50 potentially. So right now, consolidation just below resistance, not giving any clear direction, but we did see a little bit of selling at that key level. And then looking at Tesla, another really strong day here. So we're holding above the 9. This continues to look strong. The price target right now is 197.75. Got another move, 2% higher, momentum bullish, continues to look strong to that 21 EMA at 199.08. Moving over to Pepsi and NVIDIA, just to follow up on yesterday's video. This looked really strong going into the earnings. We were a little bit extended for sure, and then the earnings came out and we dropped down really aggressively here today, right down to support 167.47 at that key level. We'll see if that holds. I would expect it not to with that strong momentum on the catalyst of earnings, but it's certainly possible. If that breaks, then you're looking down to 161 area. You also have a little bit of trend support just above there around 162, but this looks a lot weaker now. Pepsi's been consolidating for a couple of months in a row, got a couple of spikes out and continues to get sold. And then you got NVIDIA over here continuing to be a straight rocket ship, 3.58% to the upside coming off of that trend line, stepping back towards bullish momentum. Resistance at this point, you could say maybe 827 or so, but who knows? This is just a rocket ship going up every single day. Moving over to Staples and discretionary. Staples has now sold off from its consolidation back down to that lower trend line, sitting around 37.11, 21 EMA sitting at 27, sitting at 73.11, 21 EMA sitting at 72.92, momentum bearish, RSI looking a little bit more bearish. Hasn't broken below the 50 line yet, so technically still okay, but definitely looks weaker. And then you got discretionaries, continues this breakout run. Broke the level yesterday, got the continuation right up to resistance, hit our price target. We'll see what happens now. If it breaks, then you're looking for 185.37. Momentum bullish, RSI bullish. Moving over to breadth, both of these hovered at the same level they've been at. So 20-day average has been flat for basically 3 days, slight down day right in that same range. 50-day average, same thesis. Got here on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, same level, Friday, same level, just below 62.25. So no movement on breadth, just like we saw on the fear and greed index. Continues to look a little bit weak, but holding at these same levels. Moving over to the 2-year and the 10-year yield, both of these popped higher on the day. Momentum continues to be bullish. RSI continues to be bullish. Makes sense. Hit our first target here on the 2-year at 4.5. Pulled back from it a little bit, and then the 10-year getting back above that trend line. Looking to the next one around 4.25, got the 144 EMA sitting at 4.28, and I would expect this to continue into that zone. Critical level here, you can see this is previous high. Break that high, start to make higher highs. We'll see how that goes, but this does still look strong to me. Moving over to the dollar, no changes here. Continues to go sideways, continues to sit just on top of that 144 EMA on the daily chart at 104. Momentum starting to fade a little bit. RSI looking a little bit weaker. We'll see what happens here. If that 144 breaks and it holds below it, then you would expect this to continue down to 103.64 and then potentially 102.98. But right now we have no clear direction. It's still holding above it. And as long as that holds, this is a little bit bullish in my opinion. Moving over to bonds, JNK rallied up a little bit right to the level, 94.82, momentum rolling higher, volume popping up on that move. So that looks a little bit bullish. We're still clearly range bound, but we're headed towards the top of the range, it looks like. And then looking at TLT, did move lower with yields, but it's still holding that trend line. So critical trend level there at 93.66. Hasn't broken below it yet. Momentum slightly bearish, RSI slightly bearish. I still think yields are going higher, so TLT not a great opportunity, but it is at support, so might be worth watching. And then moving over to the VIX, you can see we did get a little bit of a pop here, so that's interesting. Bounced off of that 1275 level. Dipped below it just for a moment and then rallied through. Got the 55 EMA sitting at 1306 here on the hourly chart. Let's look at it on the 4-hour. You can see a wick to that level starting to bounce, showing a little bit of structure at this level. You could argue maybe a slightly higher low here. Maybe I'll add some structure to this for the Sunday video, but not super convincing yet. Potentially showing a little bit of a bounce from here. Ended up with a bullish day, which is interesting, up almost 1%. Haven't seen a bullish day in a couple days here on the VIX. So showing something, nothing convincing yet, but worth keeping an eye on. Moving over to my accounts, you can see I obviously added some money here. If you can't tell, I am super leveraged in my main account. I have 400 shares at $437, and this account's only at 84,000, so I definitely don't have enough capital in this account to purchase all of these shares. So as a result of that, I am having to use some margin to keep this position open. So I'm trying to move some money around, so I'm not using as much margin to keep these positions open. The margin rates on Tasty Trade are about 10%. So I'm paying a lot of money to keep this position open, and so far that's been working. Obviously the market continues to go up every single day, and I'm basically at max profit on this position now, which is quite a lot. You can see almost $4,500 here in the first 5 weeks of trading for this year. So it's been working well. using that margin, but I'm going to try to add some more money to use a little bit less margin and pay a little bit less interest. But in terms of my positions, I made money on the day, as you would expect. Now I'm just sitting and waiting here. Like I said, I'm at max profit, a little bit above it actually at 437. My max profit here was 436, or just a little bit short of 436. You can see it's at minus $2,300, so I just have to sit and be patient on that to wait for that money to come in. This would go down to zero if the stock finished right at my max profit level, so that would bring in another $2,300 over the next 6 weeks or so. So just being patient on that position, and then you can see IWM, I rolled it out here to 192 for $10.67. I did have to pay a little bit of a debit there. That was not ideal, but it was rallying so aggressive that I had to put myself in a position to make a little bit of money. That puts my max profit up at 202.67, and then now you can see my strike is at 192, which raises my break even there. So everything is still okay on the IWM, trying to be a little bit aggressive there. And then TQQs, I did sell a put for 85 pretty early in the session. You can see I had some profit there. Probably should have rolled it up for the session, and then you can see I rolled out my call from next week to the week after up to 58. I think I paid a little bit of money for that as well. You can see $3.60 credit, so that puts my max profit at 61.60, so about another $1.50 or so on that position, potentially over the next 2 weeks. Still giving me lots of protection, so we'll see how it plays out. Still super bullish in all of my positions, and everything looks very strong. Just being a little bit patient on this Q's position as we start to run into my max profit, just being patient there. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of these markets and the charts. Everything has been a rocket ship, and today was no exception. Can NVIDIA just go up forever? And how are you trading these markets? Definitely like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video, and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.